What makes a good horror movie? Is it the one that scares us the most? One that finds new exciting ways to tell stories, shared time and time again? Or is it one, as with the following movies, that affects us so deeply that we'll never want or need to return to them again? At their best, horror movies are a juggling act, tackling grand themes of life's misfortunes and the highs and lows of the human condition, while simultaneously terrifying audiences with nasty images and startling twists of fate. Sometimes a horror movie comes along that is so effective with its message and execution that it almost begs you not to rewatch them. With that in mind, I'm Sean Ferrick for What Culture Horror, and here are 10 great horror movies you'll only watch once. Number 10. The Shining, 1980. For the most part, the films on this list are included because they're unbearably disturbing, but in the case of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, the reason it's here is because it's far too familiar. Based on Stephen King's seminal novel of the same name, Kubrick's masterwork is an expertly crafted thriller about one man's descent into madness, full to bursting with intricate set detail and skin-crawling twists that sneak up on you with startling effect. Despite its brilliance, though, The Shining also suffers from some serious overexposure. The beats of its story are so well known and parodied that the big moments, from "Here's Johnny" to the typewriter, simply won't land for first-time viewers as they once did. It's still an absolute must-watch, despite King's misgivings about what Kubrick cut from the book, and it'll surely manage to leave a lasting impression for Jack Nicholson's performance alone. But chances are one watch will cut it, and afterwards you'll probably be content sticking with the Simpsons Halloween spoof. Number 9. The Lords of Salem, 2006. Rob Zombie has never been a filmmaker intent on making anything resembling high art, the likes of House of a Thousand Corpses and Three from Hell proving he's really only in it for the entertainingly macabre. That said, he definitely stretched his creative muscles with The Lords of Salem, which to date may be his finest film. The story of a haunted DJ who finds herself entangled with a coven of bloodthirsty witches, the film is a tricky blend of surreal vulgarity, shocking violence, and symbolic psychodrama. And in classic Rob Zombie fashion, the results are absolutely horrifying, so overflowing with bloodshed, torment, and sexual depravity that even the most hardened of horror fans will be left wincing by the director's stunningly twisted imagination. Watching The Lords of Salem from its embattled protagonist, played by Zombie's wife and creative muse, Sherry Moon, is not an easy journey to take, and its finale will most likely leave you at a loss for words. The chances of you finishing it and gearing up for another go are slim. Number 8. Inland Empire, 1999. Eraserhead, Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive. Over the years, the great and incomparable David Lynch has given audiences a wide range of delightfully twisted productions, but none are quite as indecipherably batshit as his, so far, final film, Inland Empire. Playing as a nightmarish odyssey into the life of an actress whose latest film proves to be a gateway to madness, Inland Empire features some of the most unsettling and inexplicable images of Lynch's career, which may sound more like hyperbole before you watch the thing and attempt to unpack it all. With a truncated narrative approach and a wonderful sense that Lynch is having the time of his life, the bonkers burst of surreal randomness that is enrapturing despite its confusion, and even though you'll go mad yourself trying to figure it out, it's a movie-going experience you have to take. That said, Inland Empire is so weird and, at just over 3 hours, so long, that it doesn't exactly lend itself to repeat viewings. Once, in this case, is more than enough. Number 7. Green Room, 2015. Compared to other films on this list, especially those still to come, Green Room is honestly quite tame, but through the force of its action and its relentless pace, it definitely deserves to be here. The story of a punk band who are thrust into a race for survival after witnessing a gang of violent neo-Nazis commit a murder. Jeremy Saulnier's use of constant tension and nail-biting violence makes it an exhausting sit, if a madly entertaining one. With exciting performances from stars Anton Yelchin, Imogen Poots, and an against-type Patrick Stewart, Green Room doesn't do anything overwhelmingly depraved or heart-wrenching, but its boundless energy and breathless displays of violence certainly leave it sitting in the one-watch-only camp. That being said, it's worth sitting through the madness to see the late Anton Yelchin in action again and to feast your eyes on how terrifyingly good Stewart is as a sadistic Nazi skinhead. What a wild ride this is. Number 6. Don't Look Now, 1974. Directed by Nicholas Roeg, Don't Look Now employs an intense, slow-burn approach to a tale that tackles grief without compromise and plenty of unsettling scares. Starring Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie as grieving parents who are roped into the visions of two psychic sisters in the English countryside, Roeg's classic horror releases its secrets methodically and with great care, so each twist and turn of the story comes with such an emotional thud you may be inclined to pause the TV. With its moody aesthetic, tantalizing score and recurring motifs, Don't Look Look Now is a contemplative piece of work that demands patience and reaps many rewards for those willing to settle into its rhythms. This slow burn approach doesn't exactly beg you to come back for seconds, and all told, the film is best watched once anyway, because it's so orderly and ends with such force that any rewatch couldn't possibly match the first time viewing experience. When it comes to watching Sutherland hold the body of his dead daughter, once will cut it. Number 5. Audition, 1999. One of the most influential horror movies produced by Japan, Audition is a psychological thriller of the highest order, taking a relatively simple premise and some shocking violence to explore the idea of loneliness and mourning. Directed by the great Takashi Miike, the film follows a widower who sets up an audition for a new romantic partner, which leads him to cross paths with the enthralling Asami, a woman with whom he becomes inescapably drawn to. So far so creepy, but Miike doesn't waste any time in taking the film's slow burn tension and suddenly throwing audiences into a bloody nightmare, revealing every twisted detail of Asami's past with imagery few will be able to stomach. There's vomit, severed body parts, and torture galore, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Bleak to the nth degree and ending with an image destined to stay with you for nights on end, Audition is a violent, awful tragedy that gives its characters no chance of escape. You will not be meeting again, that's for sure. Number 4. Relic, 2020. In horror, the best films are the ones that use their scares to say something powerful about the way we live, and in that grand tradition, recent gem Relic is an absolute must-see, though not one you'll be itching to revisit. That's because Natalie Erica James's directorial debut, about a family haunted by the physical manifestation of dementia consuming their home, is a film so monumentally heartbreaking that to watch it is to swear off watching horror movies, or maybe just movies in general, for at least a week. Unlike many films on this list, Relic isn't violent or all that bloody, mining its tension from dialogue and a consuming feel of dread. It uses subtleties to explore how the impending spectre of death strips us of who we are before it finally takes us to the great beyond. As you can see, James's drama is nothing short of a depression session, empathetic and even kind of beautiful as it slowly drains you. You need to see it for yourself, but make sure to lock it away forever once you're done. Number 3. Antichrist, 2009. You hear the phrase, directed by Lars von Trier, and you instantly know you won't be returning to what you're about to watch. But even by his standards, Antichrist is a harrowing production. The deeply metaphorical tale of a grieving couple, played by Willem Dafoe and Charlotte Gainsbourg with commendable commitment, who travel to a cabin in the woods in a search for solace, only to find strange visions and stunning bouts of sexual sadism, this remains von Trier's most infamously bleak movie. Antichrist, to put it in context, starts with the death of a child, and honestly that opener might be the film's tamest moment. What follows, the torture, gnarly symbolism, sex and gore of it all, ramps up with every scene, right up until its horribly cruel finale. It'll be difficult for anyone to get through Antichrist even once, let alone twice or more, though those committed to the anguish will find plenty of things to unpack about grief, faith and the endless pit of depression. Good times! Number 2. I Saw the Devil, 2010. The plot is simple and horribly twisted. One day, a serial killer murders the daughter of an intelligence officer who, in his insurmountable grief, devises a plan to torture the killer for as long as possible as punishment for his sins. Though some may question labeling I Saw the Devil as horror, but the agony and emotional turmoil of the film's central drama is so dense, so overwhelming, so heartless and without hope to the very last frame that there's really nothing else it could be called. Directed by Kim Ji-won of A Tale of Two Sisters fame and written by Park Hoon-jung, this South Korean thriller would make a perfect double bill with Oldboy, both being pulverizing tales of the futility of revenge and lost humanity that offer no solace in their final moments, or any moment leading up to it for that matter. Sadistic, bleak, frighteningly violent, and heartbreaking, I Saw the Devil is a relentless thrill ride into the darkest depths of humanity, and is such a soulless tragedy that watching it again is really not an option. Number 1. Twin Peaks: Fire Walk With Me, 1992. Just as David Lynch and Mark Frost rocked on the original run of Twin Peaks with one of the most maddening TV cliffhangers ever devised, until their return to the series in 2017 at least, Lynch decided to take one last jump into the life of the late Laura Palmer and her friends. Acting as a prequel to the series, Fire Walk With Me follows Laura, the brilliant Cheryl Lee, during the last week of her life. What happened in the days leading up to her murder, committed by her possessed father? What kind of secrets does Lynch still have to spill about the mysterious Black Lodge and Bob? Fire Walk With Me answers all of these questions whilst asking some fresh ones, with stunning imagery and cast performances. It's truly a sight to behold, but unlike the show that gave it life, the movie has none of Lynch or Mark Frost's uncanny humour in place to offset the heartbreak. No, Fire Walk With Me may just be the saddest horror film ever made, a film meticulously laying out every detail of Laura Palmer's final days with no hope in sight. You'll watch it to learn its secrets, then lock it away forever whilst you attempt to recover. Folks, I think this is a good place to end this video and to say go out, play the sunshine, cheer up, and maybe give this one a break. Perhaps this is a video you will not return to, and I wouldn't blame you. Please make sure though that you're following us on the social medias. You can follow us at What Culture Horror. You can follow myself at Sean Ferrick on social media as well. Until I see you again, folks, look after yourselves, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others, and remember, you're awesome. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.